Thank you for joining me. This is a two-part topic pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs and R. Kelly. The first update is pertaining to Robert Theodore Kelly. MSNBC is the source. The Supreme Court on Monday rejected R. Kelly's bid to append his federal sex crimes convictions, declining to review the disgraced singer's petition, which raised the statute of limitations issue that an appeals court flatly rejected. The justices denied the petition without comment from any members of the court after the government declined to weigh in on the matter. The High Court didn't ask the government to respond before it put the petition on for its private conference September 30th. A signed appeal was on its way to rejection. The disgraced singer was appealing his conviction in Chicago for producing child pornography and enticing minors to engage in sexual activity, for which he was sentenced to 20 years. In another case in New York that's under a separate pending appeal, Kelly was sentenced to 30 years, though 19 years of the two sentences are set to be served concurrently. The 57-year-old, whose full name is Robert Sylvester Kelly, I think I said Theodore, sorry about that. Robert Sylvester Kelly is currently slated to be released from prison in 2045. Kelly argued that he was wrongly prosecuted retroactively under a federal law that he said bars charges related to his conduct in the 1990s and early 2000s. Prior to 2003, the statute of limitations barred prosecutions after the victim's 25th birthday, but the law was amended that year to allow prosecutions through the life of the victim. In 2003, Kelly's alleged victims had yet to turn 25, but they had by the time that Kelly was charged. That timing is crucial, according to the federal appeals court that rejected Kelly's claim, leading to his now rejected high court appeal. As a threshold matter, it is not unconstitutional to apply a newer statute of limitations to old conduct when the defendant was subject to prosecution at the time of the change, as Kelly was in 2003, the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said in April. MSNBC is the source. So he's been denied an appeal for the charges stemming out of Chicago. Naturally, that was a 20-year sentence. In his other case in New York, he also has a separate pending appeal where he received a 30-year sentence. He's expected to be released in 2045. It is now 2024. So we're talking about 21 more years. And he's already 57. Okay? So he'd be a very older person. '78. Long time. But that was his choice. And that's what you're seeing with these culprits, that their sins have found them out. And in their mind, one, they don't want to acknowledge that they've done anything wrong. That's first and foremost. And then once they go into court, the people are testifying, giving their testimonies, whether you believe it or not. The point is, somebody said you did it. 12 members of a jury said you did it. And we've learned with R. Kelly's case, he had a lot of people working with him to exact these crimes against children, women, whomever, boys, girls. And the cat came out of the bag. So in your mind, you're thinking, well, oh, that was a long time ago. So basically you're saying you did do it, but you don't feel like you should be brought up on charges because it's the past. And there are many people who have that type of attitude. Well, why are you coming out now? Well, in the end, does it matter? It doesn't diminish the fact that it was a crime, just like murder. Detectives still hunt you if you have committed a crime of murder, attempted murder. You go out here and you kill someone, the detectives allegedly are supposed to hunt the perpetrator vigorously to bring them to justice. So why should it be any different with sexual assault, child molestation, child rape? It's all the same. And that's what we've seen over the years when it comes to sexual assault. It didn't get the hype that it deserved, the recognition that it is an actual crime. You can't just get a pass because so many years have gone by, because man decided to say, well, within 17 years, we don't find a suspect, the case can't be brought back up. Why not? Because that person's still walking around. And what we've learned about sadists, they usually become murderers. Checkmate. So what you think is a case that should be pushed under the rug because of statute of limitations, well, now we have a full-fledged murderer walking around. He is no longer a child molester, rapist, sadist. He's now a full-fledged murderer. So imagine saying that to someone who's been assaulted, and then in the book of life, that perpetrator has now crossed the line and become a murderer. This is why all crimes need to be followed through, no matter when they took place. Because sexual assault is a crime. Whether it's groping, penetration, it's a crime. Such as the information I'm going to bring you pertaining to Sean Combs. Filming people, drugging people, coercion, blackmail, bribery, violence, it's a crime. And there shouldn't be any stipulations on when the crime occurred. That's my update pertaining to Robert Sylvester Kelly. Excuse me for saying Theodore. I said Theodore a lot. His federal appeal has been denied for his Chicago sex crimes, and that is a 20-year sentence. He also has been sentenced to 30 years out of the state of New York, and he also has a pending appeal in the state of New York. Our next little heathen, mercy me, Sean Puffy Combs. I'm also going to bring you a flip of my content from yesterday and the latest developments pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs. Please take the polls on my community page. I will also go over them before I end this live stream. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $BigAngie129 Cash App. This is the latest information, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Feel free to check out my extensive library of 3,000 plus videos and my live stream from yesterday morning pertaining to Sean Combs. Hollywood Unlocked is the source of this information. As we previously shared, Houston, Texas attorney Tony Bugsy took to his Instagram on September 26th to reveal that his firm was representing over 50 Diddy accusers and believes that group will continue to grow. At the time he wrote, the Bugsy law firm has been associated by the Ava Law Group to act as lead counsel to pursue claims on behalf of more than 50 individuals who suffered sexual assault and abuse at the hands of Sean Diddy Combs and his cohorts. So we have two acting law firms, Bugsy Law Firm and the Ava Law Group. Bugsy continued, this group of brave individuals includes both men and women. Men were minors when the abuse occurred. Some of these brave individuals reported the incidents to the police, others did not. Each individual's story is gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. The acts complained of occurred at hotels, private homes, and also at the infamous P. Diddy freak-off parties. Violations against this group of individuals are mind-boggling and can only be described as debauchery and depravity exacted by powerful people against minors and the weak. Bugsy added, I expect the group seeking redress will grow as this case progresses. I expect many other individuals will be implicated. We expect to have a press conference early next week where some of these stories can be told as the nation learns more and grapples with the potential scope of this scandal. Our firm has always been at the forefront of the most important cases in the United States We're proud to represent this group of brave souls and pray for justice on their behalf. Days later, we then reported an update from Tony Bugsby, claiming he is now representing over 120 Diddy accusers. During a press conference on October 1st, Bugsby stated, "We will expose the enablers who enabled this conduct behind closed doors. We will pursue this matter no matter who the evidence implicates." We shared that there were many powerful people, many dirty secrets, and that his team has collected pictures, videos, and texts. Bugsby continued, "It's a long list already, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure we're right before we do that. These names will shock you." He also noted that over 3,000 people approached his office with allegations against Diddy and that he intends to file several lawsuits across multiple states. He revealed that the youngest alleged victim at the time of occurrence was 9 years old and that 25 of the accusers were minors at the time of the alleged incidents, occurring as early as 1991. He also noted that 62% identified as African American and that his clients are from more than 25 states, predominantly from New York, California, Georgia, and Florida. On Monday, October 7th, we not only shared Tony Bugsby's update that his Diddy abuse hotline received 12,000 calls within 24 hours of being opened, but he also told TMZ that Diddy's celebrity friends have been paying off accusers to avoid being named and exposed in incoming lawsuits. While joining TMZ Live, Tony Bugsby, attorney for 120 plus Diddy accusers, revealed that he sent demand letters to several A-list celebrities who had even the slightest bit of knowledge about Diddy's alleged freak-offs to resolve matters privately. Reiterating his comments from his October 1st press briefing, Bugsby said, "If you were attending any of those parties and you attended before or you knew what was going to happen, that is, you knew that a particular drug was being used in drinks and that were causing people to be coerced and taken advantage of, and you were there in the room, or you participated, or you watched it happen and didn't say anything, or you helped cover it up, in my view, you have a problem," quote unquote. Bugsby stated that a lot of people knew about or attended Diddy's freak-offs and said nothing, and he believes that those people should be held accountable, which he plans to make happen. He said, "All of these individuals have exposure here. Who will be named, when they will be named, all that will come out in due course." However, he noted that the only way some of these celebrities can remain anonymous is by settling with the alleged victims. That's something I wanted to touch on. If there would be a NDA, non-disclosure agreement, and now we hear if they sell it private, their names can remain anonymous to celebrities. He explained it, in every single case, especially causes like this, we collect our data, collect our evidence, do our due diligence, spend time with the victim, and then because it's in the best interest of the victim, we attempt to resolve these matters without the filing of a public lawsuit, and we have done that already. Tony Bugsby, attorney for 120 plus Diddy accusers, went on to reveal that some of his celebrity friends have already started paying off alleged victims to avoid being named in their lawsuits. He said, "We've done that with a handful of individuals, many of which you've heard of before, and will continue to do that." However, he noted that if those who have received demand letters refuse to settle, their names will be exposed in said lawsuits. Wow, 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 wow. Attorney for 120 Diddy accusers claims mobile celebrity friends have quietly begun paying off alleged victims to avoid being exposed in lawsuits. This is Hollywood Unlocked. Source of this said information. Wow. Where do I start? So, Mr. Bugsby has sent out notifications. You either comply or you don't comply. Some people have started paying off the victims. So what is their knowledge, those who have paid off? What did they know and what did they see and what did they participate in? Number one, who are the celebrities that have paid off the victims? How many have paid off victims? Are they men or are they women? How many celebrities? Once again, what were they doing in the house? Any filming of them on tapes? Verifications of what? We hear they've got text messages, videos, or any of these celebrities in any videos with Sean Puffy Combs, the victims, any type of texting going back and forth, conversations, any of them exacted any raping or drugging of the victims. How many celebrities, once again, are we speaking of? How many victims total are we speaking of that have settled with the celebrities? If they settle, they can remain anonymous. How do you feel about that? I have that poll on my community page as far as names being mentioned, either a victim and or the perpetrator or any co-conspirator. Hello, Gloria. Thank you for joining me. Hello, everybody in the chat. Now, some people have not responded. If you did not respond, Mr. Bugsby says you're going to be put on Front Street. How do you feel about that? As I said before in my commentary from yesterday's live, that it's an entitlement to the person who are in these tapes to remain anonymous, naturally, because they don't want people to know that they are, one, a homosexual, was raped, or had consensual sex with Sean Puffy Combs. And naturally, it is your choice to be a homosexual, bisexual, and engage in any type of sexual activity with a person. But when you're talking about rape, drugging, forceful rape, children, that is a crime. But I meant to put a correction on my video, and I'm going to do that here in a second. I made a comment saying we should know. We should know if the person, yes, is a rapist or drugger, due to the fact that even though he's incarcerated right now in jail, but people need to know. The truth needs to be known. But in the end, it's up to the victim if he or she wants their name revealed. And that's where that would be a problem. It could be put in an affidavit or charging documents, John Doe, Jane Doe, number 1112, has proof to show they were sexually assaulted. We've got the video to show, but they don't want their name mentioned. But some of them that it can be verified by the victim and law enforcement that, they're in the tape, they're incapacitated, they were drugged, it was forcible rape, then there's your proof without us knowing their name. So that's good enough for me that law officials can say we have verified the person in the tape, they were raped, gang raped, whatever, and I never have to know their name. Because in the end, we are talking about people's lives. And that's the most important part of the story, is that we are dealing with people who were minors. They're now adults, probably don't want people to know who they are. That's why some of these lawsuits didn't come to fruition out of the 3,000 who approached Bugsby Law Firm and this Able Group, is because they don't want their names revealed. And I get that, because we are living in an age of social media. People are cruel, they're mean, they're vindictive. And next thing you know, people are in their inbox, they're going on their profile pages, taunting them, harassing them, name calling them. And that's not what you're supposed to be doing. Because one, you don't have a dog in the race, it's none of your concern. And you don't have any business stalking anyone, doxing anyone, putting their personal information or address, their work out there because they decided to tell their truth. And in the end, it is their version. You're entitled to believe it, don't believe it, but you don't have any business stalking people and harassing people. Let's get down to the information I brought you yesterday to recap what was said by Miss Ariel Mitchell Kidd, who's representing the accuser, who was gang raped by Sean Puffy Combs allegedly, and his bodyguard and a friend. The friend led her to his home. Who is this friend? Is he famous? How did she come to know him? Who did she know first, the bodyguard, Sean, or the friend? As I told you before in my commentary, I do not trust this accuser, and I don't trust Miss Kidd because it seems like a hustle. And that's what is going on in my mind, besides the people who are actually genuinely coming forward with allegations about Sean and other entities. There are some people who I believe are just jumping on the bandwagon to get a free ride, but that's expected. Because see, that's the flip of doing wrong. You can't expect others not to jump in on the bandwagon and put their 2 cents in and make up allegations, half truths, because it's par for the course. And that's exactly what's happening to Sean. And I'm sure it happened with R. Kelly, Bill Cosby, any other people who've been accused, maybe some people who actually had consensual sex, but they want to get a payout as well. This woman claimed that she was sprayed with baby oil in her face, body, that made her become incapacitated. Where I have a problem with this allegation is the fact that why didn't the other people fall out, pass out? Make it make sense. Sean Puffy Combs is spraying you with some type of oil from a fanny pack, but yet he's engaging in forcible rape with you and other men. So how is it that they're not passing out? They're touching you, they're kissing you, they're licking on you, they're doing all this nasty stuff, and you're incapacitated or going out. Why wouldn't they pass out? Help me understand. Help me understand. Help me understand. The accuser says that it was Puffy, bodyguard, and a friend. Who was the friend? How long has she known him? She was lured there, says her attorney, Miss Kidd. Very violent rape. Are we going to find out that it was Joe Sherman? Or was it another bodyguard that was working for Sean Puffy Combs? Where I have a problem still with this information is that she is the one who has the tape, for those who have not been following this content pertaining to Sean. We just learned she is the infamous person with the infamous tape. And her attorney claims they are both trying to help the victim in the tape, which is alleged to be a minor. It hasn't been quite verified if indeed the boy, who I'm assuming is a man now, was a child in the tape but appeared young. One, wasn't a minor in the tape. Two, how did this accuser, let's call her Jane Doe, how did Jane Doe get the tape? See, where I have a problem is you have access to an infamous tape of possibly a minor having being sexually abused by Sean Puffy Combs. Don't know if there are any other people in the tape. Don't know if there are other famous people in the tape. I'd also like to know if she's in the tape. How could you want to sell that tape to that person, but you're claiming that you were violently raped by 3 men? Where is the empathy for the person in the tape? Because I don't feel like this Jane Doe has empathy. And I knew something was wrong, as I said before, weeks ago when this woman came out, Miss Kidd. I told you all, my spirit told me something's not right with the accuser and the attorney. Because how is it that an attorney says, oh, somebody contacted me about a sex tape, they're shopping it around, they're trying to find the person in the tape, and they want to sell the tape to the person so they can have leverage. If the person won't buy the tape, then they're going to sell it to the highest bidder. Now we learn her client is that person with the tape. So how could you have a tape of an alleged rape or whatever, whatever the crime is in the tape, but you also was raped by Sean Puffy Combs, a bodyguard, and his friend? This is just absolutely ridiculous to me. Calm down in the chat. You'll get removed. Calm down. I don't feel that this Jane Doe is genuine. Because, as I said, her attorney came out making it seem like she was talking about 2 different people. Oh, hey, somebody contacted me about a tape. But naturally, I can't get involved because I'm an attorney. Right, duh. You can't be out here shopping for a sex tape, especially if there's a minor in it, because that's against the law. But now we find out your client is that person who owns the tape. And I'm trying to understand, why would a person who's been assaulted, violently assaulted, escape with their life on this fateful night, morning, why would you then have access to a tape and then want to sell it to a victim? But yet you're a victim, allegedly. This is not genuine here. And I'm not here to say she didn't get assaulted by Sean, the bodyguard, and this other guy. But what looks sick is that you were in the same place as the person allegedly in the tape. And if they're incapacitated, a minor, or an adult drugged, you all are one and the same. So why are you wanting to sell this tape to this person? And the other side of this is that even if the person bought the tape, they have no knowledge that there isn't a carbon copy of the tape. And we now hear that two people have talked to the New York Post claiming they have access to the same tape. Don't know if that's true or not, but this is bad business. This is very bad business. So what fool is going to give anybody money for a tape when they don't even know how many tapes are out there with themselves in the tape with Sean Puffy Combs? Why would I give you money? And now there's people saying, oh, I got that tape too. And common sense will tell you, if you download anything digitally, it's in the hard drive. It's in your phone, it's in your iCloud, it's in the memory. FBI, law officials, they can take a deep dive into your phone, your devices, and pull up anything you have had in your phone. So what would be the point of saying, oh, here's the copy. Oh, I don't have any more copies. This Jane Doe is reckless. Miss Kidd, you're reckless. And I have no respect for neither one of you. So like I said, even if Jane Doe was assaulted by Sean Puffy Combs, I still don't have any respect for her because she wants to sell the tape to another victim. And that's hypocritical, and it's disrespectful, and it's foul. Because she's double juggling. She's trying to sell the tape, and she's also trying to sue Sean Combs civilly. She needs to choose a box. Because you can't be straddling the fence and pretend, oh, I'm a noble person, oh, I'm a victim, but oh, by the way, I'm trying to hustle another victim. Because that's exactly what she's doing. And Miss Kidd, you're riding the ride with her. So you look just as bad as your client. And I knew something was wrong with you and her because your commentary sounded off 2 weeks ago when you went to News Nation. Now you're finally telling us your client and the proprietor of the tape are one and the same. And this ain't no good. This ain't good at all. Once again, how many tapes are floating around with the famous person in the tape? Is that famous person a child at the time? Are they incapacitated? Are there other people in the tape sexually assaulting the victim, or is it just Sean Puffy Combs? How many tapes are floating around in general? How many people are shopping to sell the tapes? This is bad. This is really, really bad. And somebody's going to be hurt. And what we need to recognize is that somebody might end their own life because of these tapes. That ever occurred to anybody. That this person may decide they want to take their own life because they know there's a chance somebody's going to find out who they are and put their name out there. And as Ms. Kidd has kindly told the masses, the person is shopping other avenues for a buyer and going to different networks. So right now, they're in a bidding war over the tape if someone hasn't purchased it already. And common sense should tell anyone, if this person, this woman, Jane Doe, or any other entities, sell the tape to, let's say, MSNBC, CNN, they can even go over here to the Mirror, the Sun, another entity, and sell the damn tape. I'm not a fool. No way they're going to sell to only one person, one company, one entity. Hell no. The hustle is real. So as I said before, how many other people are we talking trying to sell tapes? This is just disgusting. Get the hell out of here. Nobody is defending Sean Puffy Combs. Obviously, you don't listen and you don't follow my content. I'm talking about this accuser. I'm not talking about the other 130-some people bringing forward allegations against Sean Puffy Combs. Don't come in this chat with bullshit. I'm talking about this lady's allegations. She can't straddle the fence and say she was abused by him, but then she's trying to hustle another victim. That's not right. That's not right. And what you need to know, since you're a smart ass coming in my playhouse, you should be asking yourself how the fuck she got the tape in the first place. Because that don't sound right. That you were raped by him and his friends, but yet you got a tape of him raping somebody else. How the fuck does that make sense? Since you know so much. You come into this playhouse, you better listen. Because obviously you don't understand the content. You can't be a good Samaritan and then also try to hustle another victim. It doesn't work that way. And that's what this accuser is doing. She's claiming sexual assault, but she's also trying to hustle somebody else who's going to be devastated if their name gets out here. I don't have to explain that. If you don't understand that, then there's something wrong with you. But this is what happens when people come in and they don't know what the hell they're listening to. If you're following the script, you would already know what's going on. And I'm not pro Sean Combs. Never have been, never will be. I don't have to keep saying that over and over. But this is what happens when you come in 2 minutes of a live stream and you don't know what the fuck we're talking about in here. Excuse my manners. Once again, the bodyguard in this allegation, Jane Doe, isn't Joe Sherman, because we have a Miss Thalia Graves who's being represented by Gloria Allred. She told us a few weeks ago that she was gang raped by Sean and this Joe Sherman. So are we going to find out that Joe Sherman did assault Thalia Graves with Sean and also this Jane Doe here? Who is the bodyguard that Jane Doe is speaking of? I don't know. Two people called the New York Post with information pertaining to the victim, that the victim is devastated, that there's another tape circulating. How would you know that the victim is devastated, horrified, unless someone has made contact with the victim in the tape? Who is the victim? Will we find out who the victim is? Naturally, he will not want us to know his name. Of course he wouldn't. And has someone contacted him? And also has law officials been contacted pertaining to the tape? I won't doubt law officials already have the tape due to the fact they confiscated devices and information from Sean's homes. Because what you have to tell yourself, he's probably kept a database of all his tapings of people. So for all we know, the FBI, Homeland Security, they already have this tape. And as I said in my content yesterday, will we find out that someone in law official capacity has dubbed the tapes, made a copy, and they're out here pilfering it for the highest dollar? That will be even more devastating and cruel to the victims, because you're not supposed to be breaking the law yourself. But we know that when money is involved, people will do anything for the almighty dollar, whether they work for law official as a law official or they're a random person. And that's the point I've been trying to make pertaining to these tapes. Few people have already seen the damn tapes. Law officials have seen the tapes. Sean passed these tapes around to people. It's obvious. How do you think the accuser got the fucking tape? That's what people need to be focusing on. Because she's crying rape, but she has a tape of somebody else. How is that possible? Unless she was in cahoots with Sean Puffy Combs at one point, and now she's trying to ride on the coattail of everybody else and try to get some free money. I don't know. I'm just saying it looks bad. Looks very bad. The celebrities. How many celebrities have paid off victims thus far? Will their names be revealed? Those who haven't responded to the demand letters by Mr. Bugsby, who will they be? Men, women? How much was paid to the victims? How many victims are we speaking of? I was curious about the NDA agreements, but we now have learned no one's name will be mentioned if they pay the money to the victim. Let me make that clear. Mr. Bugsby says in a statement, if the perpetrators, co-conspirators, anybody that was an eyewitness to these crimes of drugging, sexual assault, tapings, you pay the finder's fee to the victim, and your name won't be revealed. So I'm assuming they've got that in writing. But if you do not respond to his demand letters, they will put your name out on Front Street. Now, some will say, damn, that's blackmail. Well, call it what you want. Because we don't know exactly what this persons have done and seen pertaining to drugging, sexual assault. What will these famous celebrities do if they find out they are on the tapes? Because that's a terrible place to be in if you are either a perpetrator or a victim. So once someone notifies you, whoever that someone will be, plural, what are you going to do? When you find out, hey, I got this tape for you, are you going to pay me, not pay me? What are these celebrities going to do? Because what you always have to tell yourself about non-disclosure agreements, there's still a propensity that your name can get out to the general public, and somebody says, yeah, such and such was in a tape with me, such and such was in a tape with whomever, and they were sexually assaulting and or drugging a person. And it could actually be the victim selling the name to the CNN, the Mirror, the Sun, and get the ball rolling with the he said and the she said. See, it's a hustle. And it can be an act of revenge. I'll sign this NDA with this person. I'll get money from him or her because they were a witness to the crime or in the video, whatsoever, however it went. And then I'll go sell their name to CNN, the Post, and be anonymous and say, oh yeah, by the way, that guy there, that woman there, they were an eyewitness or a participant. And all it takes is for an entity such as the news, CNN, MSNBC, to run with the name and say, this is what we got. We don't have verification. It'd be a dangerous game. And somebody will do it. Even risk being sued without a receipt. It happens all the time. Will we get names of any celebrities that were in videotapes with Sean Puffy Combs, prostitutes, children, acting out sexual assaults, druggings? Will any famous names come out as co-conspirators and or perpetrators? All of the above. Once again, this Jane Doe says she was sprayed with oil. Something was sprayed in a bottle on her face and body, and she became incapacitated. Is that true? And once again, if I'm to believe this allegation about this baby oil business in a spray bottle, how is it that you would be incapacitated, but the people engaging in the sexual assault, they don't become incapacitated? So what are you saying? The person would what? Wear a mask and spray it in your face? Stand several feet from you? That don't sound right. Because when you spray something, it floats in the air. Would it not? Of course. Say, woke everybody. Just like if right now you pull out a bottle of spray perfume, either by aerosol can or a plastic bottle, it is airborne once you push the button. So if I'm standing close to you and I'm spraying your face, your chest, shoulders, whatever, I'm also going to be inhaling the same spray. So how is it that it wouldn't affect me as the perpetrator? Help me understand that, because I'm confused. I'm utterly confused. I'm utterly confused. That's my update pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs. Feel free to go check out my live stream from yesterday. It's a very in-depth video pertaining to the allegations against him. And basically, I'm just recapping what I talked about yesterday. But the latest information is that some of his co-conspirators have paid some victims off. And I'm assuming it's these new victims, that's the 120 accusers being represented by Mr. Bugsby and the Ava Group, Law Group. How many victims have been paid? Number one. How many perpetrators, co-conspirators have paid out money? What is the dollar amount? How many people didn't reply to the demand letters? Very good question. Mr. Bugsby says your name will be revealed if you don't respond. How do you all feel about that? This wheeling and dealing behind closed doors. As I said before, people do have a right to know that there's a sadist walking around. Because I need to put a correction in my video when I said we don't need to know. What I meant is, grown people having sex, yes, that's their business. Whether they're heterosexual, gay, bisexual, whatever. You want to have orgies, fine. But if you are filming, drugging, raping a person, people do need to know that. Because people need to know what type of person you are. But the flip side of this case, with this infamous tape floating around, that person in the tape has a right to privacy. I'm not in this person's shoes. I'm not on the tape. So I can't speak for the guy in the tape or any woman in the tape. I can say, oh yeah, I want to know who's a sadist. Yeah, I want to know who's a rapist. But the point is, I'm not on the tape. So I'm not in that person's shoes. And right now, this person is probably sick to death knowing there's a chance somebody's going to find out who he is. And they're going to put his name out there. And they're going to take the risk of being sued by putting his name out there. Naturally, this is going to be a toss-up of trying to prove who sold the tape, how they got the information, and how they got the person's name. But if law officials ever find out this Jane Doe sold a tape to the highest bidder, she will probably go down in flames just like Sean Puffy Combs. And nobody's going to believe her claim of being gang raped by him. Because the first thing a logical person is going to say, you can't say you were hurt by him, but then in turn, you will go sell a sex tape with a victim and you are claiming to be a victim. You're a hypocrite. Even if it's true that he assaulted her. Because I'm not here to say he didn't. I'm saying what she's doing about the tape is wrong, which would lead me to wonder if she really was assaulted. Because a decent human would give the tape to the victim to say, hey, I've been in your shoes. I've been assaulted by Sean Puffy Combs and two other guys. I got this tape. I want to hand it to you because I think you deserve to have it. I don't know if there are any other copies out there, but you deserve to have this tape. You don't sell the tape to the person and you've been in their shoes. Who does that? Not a decent person. I think this person is angry, bitter. They want revenge. They want money. As I said, they may have been assaulted by Sean and his friends, but if she's telling the truth, she's also trying to put another person out there on blast. And that ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right at all. And no way you can say you were assaulted by this man and his friends, but then in the same breath, you want to put another victim out there on Front Street for the almighty dollar. That's my content, everybody. R. Kelly has been denied federal appeal for his sex crimes in Chicago, Illinois. A judge has denied an appeal, didn't hear it, didn't listen to it, didn't speak on it. Sean Puffy Combs, 120 new accusers, new allegations coming from a Jane Doe represented by Miss Kidd, violent assault that took place with three men, Sean, a bodyguard, and a friend, took place in someone's home. Is this a famous person's home? Will this person's name be revealed? Mr. Bugsby, who's representing the 120 accusers out of Houston, Texas, says he has sent demand letters. Some of the people have paid victims. Some have not responded. If you have not responded, your name will be put out to the public. Do you agree or disagree? Let's go to my community page and take the post. Thank you for joining me. Welcome to the Vote Excel Early Morning Live. This is live number 1. I will be back later with live number 2. We're going to talk about TikTok and some crazy stories around the world. My Crazy America segment, I haven't done it in a couple of months. We're going to go and check out some crazy stuff going on in America. Prayers for Florida. Don't know if the storm has hit yet, made landfall. But I'll try to give you an update before I leave this live stream pertaining to Hurricane Milton. Prayers for everyone in the bottom states. Now there are 120 new allegations, upcoming civil lawsuits, and a sex tape being shot. Should Puffy fold and plead guilty or ask for a plea? 4 people voted. 100% he should plead guilty and or ask for a plea. Do you want to know who's in the Puffy Sexgate tape? 64% yes, 21% no, 14% not sure. Puffy Sexgate. Is the female accuser with the infamous sex tape of Sean, an unknown celebrity, really concerned with giving the victim the tape? No, just a hustler, 50%. Yes, 0%. Not sure, 50%. Puffy Sexgate. Do you believe the allegations from female accuser, who also has the infamous sex tape of Sean, an unknown celebrity? 100% of you said yes, you do believe her. Do you trust this attorney, Ariel Mitchell Kidd, who allegedly represents Puffy accuser Jane Doe? 3 votes. 100%. You do believe her. It has been said that some of Puffy's famous associates are paying off victims should their names be revealed. Yes. 100%. Puffy sex tape with celebrity. Should victim buy the tape from woman accuser? 25% yes. 75% says no, and only 4 of you voted. Please take these polls because they're relevant to the content I have been bringing you pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs. His mother has spoken out. Basically, she's saying he deserves to go to trial, to have his day in court. Right now, it's a public lynching of her son. As I said before in my live stream yesterday morning, Janice, you need to shut the fuck up because you don't know what the hell you're talking about. They have tapes now. So you, Puff Diddy, Suge Knight, Ray J, whoever else, it's over with. As they say, the tapes don't lie. If the tape can show drugging, an incapacitated person, a numb person, a person who is not woke, a forcible rape, a minor in the tape, what the fuck are you talking about him going to court? To prove what exactly? He thinks this is all about Cassie Ventura and that hotel video and her allegations. Well, if the judge decides to allow some of this other business, nasty business, to make its way into the court, besides the drugs found and guns found in the face, he's going to have a hell of a time trying to explain somebody jumping up on a stand and pointing their naked body out in a video, limp and drugged out. So Janice, you need to shut up. Ray J, you need to shut up. And Suge Knight, you definitely need to shut up because you're in no predicament to talk about anybody's personal business when you couldn't tell us who the fuck shot Tupac the night you all were in that damn BMW. So everybody just needs to be fucking quiet. You don't have anything relevant to bring to the story. Nobody wants to hear it because this case now is just atrocious and it's barbaric. Because we now know he's a homosexual, which that's his business, but he's been perpetrating himself as a heterosexual man. Naturally, people say there were rumors for years that Sean was both, bisexual. And as the guy on Law and Crime Network said, that's a person's business if they want to have sex with men, but you're wrong to be shopping the tape to put somebody out on blast. And that's true. But if it's a minor in the tape, if the person was drugged in the tape, either a minor or an adult, that's a fucking crime, and it should be revealed. Not necessarily the people in the tape that's incapacitated, but the crime itself needs to be put out that people now know he's a sadist. He's a child molester. He's a rapist. Yes, that should be known. And that's the flip side of this situation. The person, they don't want their name out there. Why would they? Many people probably speculating who it is. Is it Usher? Is it Justin Bieber? Is it some other famous young person? I don't know. It's wrong to assume. And I'm sure they are petrified because it is a male in the tape. Let me make that clear. It is not a woman. It was not a girl. It is a female. And it is believed that this was a minor at the time of the filming. So if it is a child, this is a rape. It is not consensual. Children cannot consent to sex. And it doesn't matter what an adult says. They wanted it. They liked it. You sound ridiculous. It's a child. What is next in this debacle? Who's going to come out next with the allegation against Sean Combs? How much of this information from these civil suits are going to be allowed at the trial? Should he take a damn plea at this point, considering these new lawsuits, these new allegations, and a sex tape circulating with the famous person in it? Because Sean knows who's in that tape. He knows who's in all of his tapes. And if he has heard that the child is a child in the tape, this is something you would not want known to the public. Because one, it's identifying you as a sadist, and it's also identifying you as a homosexual. And those are two things he didn't want people to know about him, besides also him drugging women and men. He doesn't want to be known as a drugger. He doesn't want to be known as a pedophile, and he definitely don't want to be known as a homosexual. That's why he's beating up women, dragging them around, pulling their hair, punching them in the face. He's a woman hater because he hates himself. He has an identity problem, but that's his damn problem. Because nobody told him to go out here and rape children and rape people and drug people. That's a personal choice. And we're talking about at least 30 years of this nasty business. And I won't doubt he's been doing this type of stuff even when he wasn't famous. There's going to be somebody that's going to come tell us a story about Sean in high school, college, maybe even as a child. That's what I'm waiting on next. Who has a story about Sean as a preteen, a child? What his life was really like with his mother? Where is his father? You don't hear any mention of his father. You don't have any mention of anybody talking positive on behalf of Sean Puffy Combs. Why not? Everybody was defending R. Kelly, left and right. These two are the same. Sean just spent more money. That's the only difference. R. Kelly, he's been deemed a homosexual, pedophile as well. People still bragging and upholding him. But yet Sean Puffy Combs, ain't nobody saying a word. Nobody's coming to his defense. Ray J's the only one talking in circles about him in a roundabout positive way. But he looks like a fool too because he made a tape of Kim Kardashian many years ago, allegedly. So who are you to give us advice about kumbaya and we all need to come together and make things better? There's nothing to make better because we don't have control over people's vaginas and their penises. I can't tell you what to do with your penis. I can't tell you, hey, you know you shouldn't be liking little girls and little boys. Hey, you know you shouldn't be penetrating children. Hey, you shouldn't be luring kids to studios in your home. Hey, you shouldn't be drugging people. Hey, you shouldn't be raping people. Hey, you shouldn't be filming people without their consent. Who am I? Nobody. So that bullshit Ray J spun to News Nation is a more violence. Come together on what? There's nothing to come together about. Sean is a sadist. He's been aided by people. He's paid people to aid him in his foolishness, in his depravity. And that's on them and that's his choice. But now his sins have found him out. And even if nobody believes any of the allegations by any of these people in a civil suit, criminal, or Cassie Ventura's version, what's an indictment? he's going to go down just on the drugs and the guns alone. So if he has any sense about himself, he should get his lawyer to talk to the state of New York and ask for a plea. Because he will be 55 November 4th. And I think he can count 20 plus on top of 54 years. So it's his choice if he wants to go into the abyss and die in prison. That's on him. I have no respect for him. I do believe most of the allegations that have come out, and even if some of them are false or fraudulent, it's not going to even matter, because this is what happens when you send negativity out into the universe. You put out this omen. You're this demon, and you're putting out this sickness into the universe, and you're now getting it back, finally. So as I said, whether you believe some of the allegations or not, it's par for the course for some of it to be made up, half and half fiction, half and half truthful. You'll never know without a receipt. But we have information that there are people who have text messages, videos pertaining to Sean Puffy Combs and their allegations. And if they are valid receipts, he's fucked. Because all he needs now is for a judge to get a hold of that information and start seizing his assets. He won't have nothing. Initially, he's worth about $600 million. It won't even matter. Because with all these lawsuits, 600 million can get down to zero very fast. You're also paying different lawyers. That's expensive. Upkeep of homes that you have not put on the auction block, that's expensive. Trying to divvy up the monies between your children, that's a problem. And as I said before in my live stream earlier, who has he left all his estate to? Which child? Who is supposed to be navigating on his behalf while he's incarcerated? Does he have someone navigating his business affairs, his financial affairs? Who has he put all his homes into their names, children's names? He's already was bargaining equity from his mother's house and his Miami home, which I thought was ridiculous. You are a multimillionaire and you need to take equity out of a house, 2 houses, for what? When he was trying to secure a bond of $50 million. And who does that? Oh, hey, I'll give you $50 million for a bail if you let me walk free and be on house arrest. I've never heard of anybody trying to secure their own bail with a dollar amount. So this goes to show you he likes to buy people, because this is all he's been doing for 30 plus years, is buying and bribery and blackmail. And now the house of cards are falling. There's no more bribing. There's no more blackmail. There's no more coercion. There's no more sexual assault. There's no more drugging. There's no more filming people. The playhouse is folded. He's done. And that's a crime, filing off the serial numbers. Oh, Skylar, his father got killed. Okay. Well, nonetheless, he may have had some father figures, role models in his life. For men, don't know. But I do believe he was possibly sexually assaulted as a child, groomed by someone, family members, neighbors. He learned this behavior somewhere, and sadly, he didn't get any help. Now, was he born this way? I don't know. But I do believe most pedophiles and rapists, they've been groomed by somebody. They've had exposure to pornography, sex, and child molestation, rape as children. And I won't doubt that is exactly what has happened to Sean Puffy Combs. If not, really doesn't matter. The point is, he's the captain of his ship. At any point, if he felt that there was something mentally wrong with him, he should have sought help like the rest of these pedophiles and rapists out here. It's a choice to not get help. And it's the one deviant behavior that has been said by experts that cannot be changed. You cannot change a molester or a rapist. There is no help. There is no therapy. And I will agree. Because most of these men and women, they do not stop assaulting until they are put down either by death or life behind bars. And as most of you know who follow this state of Tennessee, we now have a law on the books that you can be put to death for sexually assaulting children in the state of Tennessee. And I concur. Because you have no right to be messing with people's children. You have no right to get a plea deal. You have no right to get a 3 or 4 year sentence to go back out and rape somebody else's child. And 9 times out of 10, as I've said before, a rapist will become a murderer as to silence the victims and not be brought to justice. And I won't doubt somebody could have died in the care of Sean Puffy Combs, and we don't know anything about it. Got drugged, never woke up. They took the body out and dumped the body somewhere. Who's to say? Because it's deviant behavior. And when you're dealing with deviants, one thing begets another. And this situation is nothing but a mass cover-up by many. And I won't doubt there are many people who had sex with him willingly, also engaged in sex with other people, incapacitated, and didn't give a fuck. And so Mr. Bugsby is saying, if you have proof of this type of behavior, call him and bring your receipts. Sean has finally been found out. And it was time. And sadly, there's another Sean Puffy Combs walking around. There are other victims out here, and there are other people who aid and coddle them. And this behavior will never stop until somebody puts the hammer down on the perpetrator. And they also take down the co-conspirators. Because you can't have one without the other. If you see something, say something. Be a part of the solution, not the problem. Mind your children. Please talk to your children about sexual assault, sex, healthy sex, love, healthy affection, inappropriate touching. That's your job. Not the street, not other children, not even the schoolhouse. That's a parent's job. Because if you're afraid to talk to your children about sex and inappropriate touching and sexual assault, you are going to have a fucking problem down the road. It is nobody's job to talk to your children about these type of situations. That is your job. And if you don't know how to do it, then you find somebody that's educated enough to talk to your children about these matters. Because what you don't want is for your child to end up a victim of sexual assault. You do not want your child to end up human trafficked. You definitely don't want your child to end up being a sadist. So do right by your children. Pay attention to your children. Ask questions. And talk to your children as young kids so they'll know what to look for. As not to become a Puff Daddy storyline. This is not what you want for your children. Thank you for joining me. You all have a wonderful day. I'll be back with live number 2. Please take the polls on my community page. Follow the Queen on Newsbreak app. I have a nice little following over there, bringing you the same type of content in videos. I also comment on articles. You'll get notifications when I comment, and you can feel free to also comment below the videos and also go to the said articles where I've commented and leave your comment there. 3,000 plus videos in the YouTube queue with shorts, live streams. Make it count. Like, share, subscribe. You all have a wonderful day. You've been listening to the Vault Excel.